Good afternoon, everyone. I call to order our city council meeting scheduled for today, January 22nd. Can I have a roll call? Ms. Adams.
Mayor Clea McCaw.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Carolyn Flowers.
Present.
Councilmember Faye Jackson.
Present.
Councilmember Ken Kilmery.
Present.
Councilmember Angelica Landry.
Present.
Councilmember Brian Myers.
Present.
Councilmember Mark Rodriguez.
Present.
Mr. Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you, ma'am. We'll have our invocation by Father Greg, and after the invocation is concluded, we have our pledge of allegiance by Councilman Kilmery. Please stand.
We move into this momentous year leading up to the celebration of the 250th anniversary of our national independence. And as we conclude this week, when we have celebrated the work and the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King, there's a great Jubilee theme which can, please God, focus our work and our service together in this community. The great Jubilee text found in Leviticus 25:10 and inscribed upon the Liberty Bell in Philadelphia proclaim liberty throughout the land and freedom to the inhabitants thereof. These words were recast in Martin Luther King's immortal I Have a Dream speech when he prophetically challenged our nation to make liberty ring throughout the land and to all people in every place. As he called us to expand our vision of what that freedom really means for all Americans, it is now to us, the heirs of that dream, to let freedom ring. To us who are living at this moment in history, to us, the citizens of this and every city and town and village across America, comes this sacred calling. And so we pray, Lord of all times and all places, we ask you to pour out your blessing upon the leaders of this community, as by your wise guidance, they will guide and encourage all of us to let freedom ring in Sierra Vista. By your Spirit's prompting, may they challenge us to expand our vision of all that we can be together. May they help us by their own example to grow into and live up to the great vision which you, Lord, have for us in this Jubilee community of Sierra Vista. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Father Gray. Item number 1, Councilwoman Landry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that the agenda for the regular city council meeting of January 22nd, 2026 be approved as written.
Second.
Probably moved to second. Are there discussion items? I'll call for the vote. All is in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, seeing none is passed. And we'll have our city manager report, ma'am.
Thank you, Mayor McCaw and members of council. Your next regularly scheduled council meeting will be February 10th at 3 p.m. here in council chambers. That's your work session. You do have an additional meeting scheduled for beginning of February. That's an executive session on February 12th at 3:30 before your council meeting. That will be your annual litigation update given by the city attorney, and that will be downstairs in the city manager's conference room. Following that will be your regularly scheduled council meeting, also on the 12th at 5 p.m. up here in council chambers. Several projects to share with you tonight. Request for proposals is out for the Mona Bishop Library Conference Room AV upgrade. That pre-proposal meeting was held today, and those proposals are due on February 12th. We have a request for proposals out for a company to provide cancer screenings for firefighters, and that's a grant funded project through FEMA. Those proposals are due on February 11th. Bids currently under review include the CDBG-funded Ramada structure and common area walkway for Catholic Community Services. And we selected 3 companies for on-call professional civil engineering services, and those companies are Hazen and Sawyer, Humphrey Civil Design, and Wilson Company, and those contracts will be in negotiations. An update on a project we reported on at the last meeting, the Buffalo Soldier Trail Shared Use Path is under construction by KE&G, and the expected completion date is May of this year. And I shared information about the sales tax collection report received for November, and our sales tax revenue was flat, which means that we are meeting our expected revenue projections for the year, and we're simply not collecting anything over and above what we projected. That's thankfully actually good news because we still had the government shutdown going on for over half of November, so it was good to see that we're still meeting our projections. And we're looking forward to our December report, which is usually a pretty good collection month for us. That's all I have tonight, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions? Yes, sir.
Just a comment, if you can just clarify why we have to contract our civil engineers for the city, that we don't have one, or,
Of course, Mr. Rodriguez. So we are doing an on-call for civil engineering services to help us expedite projects. We are short on engineers and have been for several years. So we'll be able to use the services of outside engineering firms to help with those projects that would make sense to send out of house.
perfect, thanks for the clarification.
Of course.
Thank you, ma'am. We'll go- Item number 2, Councilman Myers.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I move that the consent agenda consisting of the minutes of the work session meeting of January 6, 2025, the regular meeting of January 8, 2025, and Resolution 2026-004, appointment of Dimitri Simonton to the Environmental Stewardship Commission, said term to expire April 30th, 2027, be approved.
Second.
Been properly moved in second. Are there discussion items? Yes, ma'am.
Dimitri, thank you for agreeing to be on another commission. The IDA
The idea.
president, and now with the Environmental Affairs Commission. We already know he's super active when he decides to get involved, so they're lucky to have him. And is this a quorum now for you guys?
I believe so.
Awesome.
Yes.
So thank you for being willing to serve.
I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none is passed. Go to our new business. Item number 3, Councilman Rodriguez.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Mayor, I move that ordinance 2026-001, proposed text amendments to the City Development Code, Section 151.02.003, definitions, Section 151.06009, mobile food vendors, and Section 151.22.006, matrix of use permissions be approved.
Second.
Probably moved in second. Staff report, Mr. Pregel. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor and members of council. So these amendments were presented to council on December 11th, 2025. Just to provide you a quick summary of those amendments. The first Development Code amendment would allow airports by right in the light industry zoning district. The next amendment revises the definition of community service use to include the term emergency medical service provider. The next amendment would eliminates the annual permit certificate for mobile food vendors. And then finally, the final amendment would allow places of worship within the general commercial zoning district. On December 11th, the mayor and council approved a 30-day public comment period for the proposed text amendments. The amendments were placed on the city's Engage website to provide information to the public and to allow for public comments. No comments have been received. Therefore, the code amendments are ready for final adoption tonight. This does conclude staff's report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Are there any questions, comments, discussion items? I'll call for the vote.
I'll have
Oh,
I
yes,
just
ma'am.
wanted
Go
to-
ahead.
Because it's a lot of work to go through the code line by line, and especially for the mobile food vendor portion, they're removing redundancies that we see at the county level anyway. So
Yes.
I appreciate all the hard work, and planning and zoning, of course, overlooking it too. Thank you.
I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. It's passed. Thank you, sir. Item number 4, Mayor Pro Tem Flowers.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that Resolution 2026-005 approving an intergovernmental agreement with Pima College for paramedic training be approved.
Second.
Been properly moved in second. Staff report. Chief Jones is not here. Chief Deaver.
Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem Flowers, thank you. What this agreement allows is for the City of Sierra Vista Fire and Medical Services to work with Pima Community College to provide access for their students to ride along with our ambulances. So paramedics have to have a minimum of 300 hours of ride-alongs on ambulances before they can become certified paramedics. And so it's hard to find that many hours at times for all the paramedic students that exist within Pima and Cochise County. And so this intergovernmental agreement allows Pima to send students to us. The other side of that is it allows us to send our firefighters and EMTs to Pima Community College to become certified as paramedics. Cochise College has a very robust and excellent paramedic program that we utilize. However, with Pima Community College, if we have an employee in Tucson who wishes to attend paramedic school, instead of having them drive all the way back down here to Cochise, we allow them to attend Pima. It's almost the exact same cost financially, and certainly it's an accredited program just like Cochise program. So this intergovernment agreement allows us to have that option.
Thank you, sir. Are there any questions, comments?
I've
Yes,
got-
sir.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
One
Yes.
question.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Chief Devers, why do we have employees in Pima County? Do they just live there, or?
Councilmember Kilmer, that is correct. We do have several employees, both on our EMS division and fire division, that live in Tucson. There is no current residency requirement for the fire department to live in City of Service or Cochise County. And so we do have several employees who do commute from Tucson.
Okay.
And so in the past 5 years, we have sent 3 paramedic students who reside in Tucson to Pima Community College for their paramedic training. But the vast majority of our paramedics are trained here at Cochise College.
Got it, thank you.
Councilman
Are
Myers?
there any sort of liability waivers that go into effect when these students ride on your equipment?
So, yeah, there's quite a bit of liability that goes into having a paramedic student ride along. That's actually covered through Arizona Department of Health Services. Because Pima Community College is a certified and accredited program, all their students have to meet the normal criteria to allow them to practice paramedicine under the tutelage of another paramedic. And that paramedic has to meet minimum qualifications and requirements to be a precepting paramedic. That's handled through both Arizona Department of Health Services and Canyon Vista Medical Center, who is our base hospital, and Dr. Kwan, who is our medical director, through Canyon Vista Medical Center. So the liability, mostly because it's any type of malpractice or those types of things, falls under the Canyon Vista Medical Center, who is our medical direction and who we operate under. Paramedics do not practice medicine autonomously. They do so as an extension of a medical doctor.
Is there any scenario where these students would incur liability to the city? If they were riding in our equipment and responding on our calls?
Sure, that's a very good question. I could foresee that possibility, absolutely. I cannot think of any that has occurred, but just like any, it's a very dynamic, high-risk scenes that we respond to, and just like our paramedics have had situations that have had litigation in the past, very rare, but it does occur. I could potentially foresee a student having that occur. But it's the only way to become certified as a paramedic. It's like physicians that have to be residents. It's no different than that. The paramedics have to complete 300 hours at a hospital and 300 hours on an ambulance. And the only way they can do that is through these accredited programs and preceptorships. And so it's very nationally accepted. It's the norm. It's the industry norm. And we do it every day with Cochise College students, and it's no different with Pima Community College students. And I believe this IGA does help with that. And I apologize for being ignorant to the question, but that's the best I could answer it.
Yes, sir.
Just to clarify for you, these guys and girls are already EMS. Normally they're EMTs already, so they've been right on the ambulance already. They're just going to a higher care now, of a higher course, you could say. So they're not new to riding on an ambulance. They do it every day as part of their job, normally. And so now when they go to school to be a paramedic, they have to do a different level of care now above EMT. So they're not just like, it's not their first day on an ambulance, if that clarifies a little bit better for you. I think maybe explain it that way, I don't know.
Yeah,
They-
Councilman
they've
Rodriguez,
been there
that's
already.
correct. Yeah, they are EMT basics and also becoming EMT paramedics, which is the advanced care. But again, they do have a criteria, and they fall under the base hospital, and they have to follow the base hospital guidelines, which are established through Arizona Department of Health Services, and fall under the extension of the medical doctor and our emergency room medical physician, Dr. Kwan, who's our current medical director.
I almost just wonder if it's a question for our city council, if there's any sort of waiver that can be issued for them to sign when they participate in this program to keep the city, so that they don't incur any liability to the city.
Mayor McCaw and Councilmember Myers, I have a clarifying question for your Deputy Chief, actually. Are all of the people going through this already currently employees? Or are there other students who are not employees going through the program who would be on our equipment?
Yeah, Assistant City Manager Yarborough, that is correct. We have students who are our own employees, but also we do have other employed members who ride with us as students, and they are from multiple agencies. Tucson Fire, Bry Fire District, Whetstone Fire District, Bisbee Fire Department. And we're not the only entity that does this. Again, every fire department and every emergency medical services ambulance service does participate in these programs, with the understanding that we have to train our paramedics, and the only way to do so properly is to let them ride. But it is a very robust program and curriculum that they have to go through. It's very well monitored and documented. Every call is documented very well, that they are in, as a preceptee under a preceptor. And certainly we do, for outside, and to clarify, we do have waivers for any person that rides with us that is not an employee. And I could provide that for you. I don't have it here with me now.
Well, I think that, I mean, if we're having our non-employees, people that don't work for our city, say Tucson or something like that, sign waivers, that satisfies my concern.
Okay, yes, sir. They do sign a waiver.
As long as, say, Tucson is down here at Cochise using our equipment, and their city is going to incur any liability, if there is a liability scenario, then that satisfies my concern.
Yes, sir. And I don't know the exact wording of the waiver, but anybody who's a non-employee who rides on our fire trucks or ambulances does sign a waiver.
Okay. All right. Thank you for answering that question.
Yes.
Any more questions? Thank you, Chief.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? Hearing none, it's passed. Go to item number 5, Councilman Jackson.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Mayor, I move that Resolution 2026-006, approval of Sierra Vista Industrial Authority Education Facilities Revenue Bond to American Leadership Academy Johnston, Series 2026, an aggregate amount not to exceed $120 million be approved.
Second.
Been properly moved in seconds. Staff report. Mr. Stalina, good to see you, sir.
Mr. Mayor, good to see you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. As you know, I'm counsel to the Sierra Vista IDA, and I'm here on their behalf. The first resolution that you have before you from the Sierra Vista IDA today relates to a charter school financing in North Carolina. The school's management team is the same team from the previously approved American Leadership Academy transaction, as well as the Wake Prep Academy transactions done by the Sierra Vista IDA. This financing is to use the bond proceeds to pay the acquisition price for the currently leased school and expand the school, which is located in Clayton, North Carolina. The bonds will be unrated and publicly sold by Robert W. Baird, but only to qualified institutional investors or accredited investors. Pursuant to Bond Council's directions, the IDA held a public hearing on this issue, at which there were no objections, and there were also 2 public hearings held in North Carolina with no objections. As you know, the Sierra Vista IDA is a separate nonprofit corporation from the city. It is not a commission of the city. However, the board of members of the Sierra Vista IDA are appointed by the City Council, and the proceedings of the Sierra Vista IDA have to be approved by the City Council. So the issuance of bonds is approved by the City Council. But as always, these bonds are not a pledge or of the credit of the Sierra Vista IDA or of the city. Instead, they're the sole financial obligation of the borrower. Under the IDA statutes, that is a requirement listed in all the bond documents. and therefore there is no financial obligation to the city or the Sierra Vista IDA for these bonds. Happy to answer any questions on that.
Thank you, sir. Any questions? Yes, sir.
I know we went over it in the work session. Can you please just reiterate who the who holds the risk in this in this?
In this scenario, the lender, which is the bond holders, are doing the credit analysis of the borrowing entity. So we're the borrowing entity not to repay it. The Sierra Vista IDA and the city have no obligation to repay that. The bondholders would only be able to look to the borrowing entity.
Thank you.
Other questions, discussion items? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, it is passed. Item 7, Councilwoman Landry. Oh, item 6.
Six.
Correction, item 6, Councilman Murray.
That's me.
Got you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that resolution 2026-007, approval of Sierra Vista Industrial Development Authority revenue capital appreciation bonds to the Bayou Bell Project Series 2026, original amount not to exceed $25 million be approved.
Second.
We probably move to the second staff report. Sir.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council again. The second resolution before you today from the Sierra Vista IDA relates to a financing for an acquisition of land and development of infrastructure for a master plan community entitled Bayou Bell, which is outside of Houston, Texas. This is a taxable bond issue, so it is different than the first issue, which includes capital appreciation bonds in which interest accretes but is not paid on a quarterly or a semi-annual basis. It is not then paid out until the bonds either are redeemed or mature. Again, the bonds will be unrated, but they will be privately placed, so there'll be a single buyer or a very few number of buyers by RBC Capital Markets, but again, only to qualified institutional buyers or accredited investors. Again, out-of-state financings are allowed under the IDA statutes if there is a benefit found within the state. In this case, the benefit is the fee paid to the Sierra Vista IDA for its costs and the economic development work it does with the city. And again, bonds are not a credit pledge of the city or the IDA as explained before. Happy to answer any further questions.
Questions? Any questions? Yes, sir.
Question.
Just like my last question, can you reiterate who holds the risk?
Again, the risk for the bonds is borne by the bond holder, the purchaser, the lender that buys the bonds from RBC Capital Markets in this place, and it's dependent upon the borrowing entity's creditworthiness.
Thank you.
Sir.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So can you clarify the IDA and the city, the only benefit we receive is the fees but none of the interest, correct?
That's correct.
And does that only cover costs or is that in addition to the costs spent
No.
by the IDA?
They cover all of the costs of the issuance of the bonds, including the IDA's costs, but the IDA charges either an upfront fee or an annual fee at the request and decision of the borrower over the life of those bonds.
Do you have that value?
In this case, they're anticipating in the $25 million, if it's truly $25 million that is issued, we have negotiated an upfront fee at the president's determination. It would be about $125,000.
Okay. And that's for the IDA to do IDA business, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Nothing to the city.
How long would it take to realize that?
I'm sorry?
How long would it take to realize that $120,000?
The Sierra Vista IDA will get paid that at the closing for the bond issue.
Okay,
if it's upfront.
thank you.
If it's annual, it's annually over the life of the bond issue. So some of the bond issues have semi-annual payments that can be $7,000. It depends on each individual deal.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Mr. Slaney, thank you so much for coming down here and being available to break this down and to answer our questions. We appreciate that.
Any other questions, comments? Call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, it is passed.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Safe ride back to Tucson. Go to item number 7, Councilman Landry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that Resolution 2026-008, appointment of Jennifer Holt and Robert Brooks to the Parks and Recreation Commission, set term to expire December 31st, 2028.
Second.
It's been properly moved in second. Staff report, Ms. Wilson.
Very much, Mr. Mayor, members of council. You had a single vacancy on your Parks and Recreation Commission and a second vacancy that was made available due to a former appointee unfortunately resigning before swearing in. But fortunately, you had two great candidates in Ms. Holt and Mr. Brooks, and I haven't seen them here today. This approval will fill your wonderful Parks and Recreation Commission. And just a side note, you also have two former commission members, and Mr. Hewitt is one of those in the audience, and Ms. Schaff. And so you have a very robust and active Parks and Recreation Commission. And I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any, but this one's pretty straightforward.
Thank you, ma'am. Are there
You bet.
questions, comments? Yes,
Just
sir.
a comment. I met both the individuals at the commission meeting last week. You gotta say, very fully qualified, and they're gonna be a great, particularly as we move into the budget process, very knowledgeable in that aspect.
Excellent. Excellent. Any other comments? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, it is passed. Tonight, we have 4 call to the publics. For all the call to the publics, you have 5 minutes. You'll see a green light here illuminated. When it's red, your time has expired. The first is Dan Gavin. Dan Gavin.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you,
Sure.
Council. I'm Dan Gavin. You might recognize me as the cyber guy from Cyber Eye in the articles in the paper. So today I want to talk about the automatic license plate readers that were recently installed by Flock Safety. I couldn't, decide whether I thought it was more Minority Report or RoboCop, depending on how you look at it. But on the cybersecurity side, it's very concerning to me with the capabilities that these cameras have. Right, the capabilities, they don't only read license plates, right? So they take a video and then they send it back to their data center and then they put AI against it so they can tell, if it's got a dent, if it's racing stripes, make, model, they can probably figure out what year it is and whatnot. My concern is what they can do that they're not telling you. If they're using AI, they can do facial recognition for anybody in the car, which would be a bit of a invasion of privacy that would go on. They can do tilt, focus, zoom to find out. So when I was doing my research for the article, I came across a case where someone hacked into one of the safety things and tilted and zoomed in on the rollerblader and read their iPhone. That's how much power these things have. So that's one concern. Another concern is the data, the amount of data that's going through a third-party vendor. Now, even though it's going to a third-party vendor, even though they're doing the work for you, it's going to the third-party vendor and they own the data. They can do whatever they want with the data unless you put it in a contract. So keep that in mind. So I was researching again, and I found on their website that they share data with neighborhood cameras like Ring. So they can cast a wider net to catch the criminals. They also cast a wider net to invade privacy of citizens that aren't criminals. Another one of my concerns. But the fact that the other vulnerability concern I had on this one was if this kid pen tester can hack in 2 minutes, then what's going to stop a criminal network from hiring a 18-year-old to do the same thing for them? and then find out where all the policemen are and all the data for them. That's the other thing. Now, if you read my article, I'm big on data privacy, and I think America is way behind on data privacy in a big way, whereas Europe has the GDPR to allow people to get their names out of database. It seems like America doesn't care. Well, when you have cameras going through the city like this and having the technology they have, you're going to have people get recorded without their consent over and over again. And unless Flock has a way to opt out when they do their facial recognition and identify someone as oh, this person opted out, let's delete all of his stuff. I guarantee they don't have that capability. So again, when I was researching, a lot of cities and whatnot are getting rid of their contracts with Flock and other companies like them because of the data privacy concerns that the citizens have. Now, we recently had the cameras come in for the stoplight cameras. The citizens rejected that and got rid of it. This is way worse than that. So I would recommend that we look hard on getting rid of this because I can see litigation against the city. Thank you.
Thank you, again, Mr. Gavin. Good to see you. Our next call to the public is Mr. Bruce Tassin. Sir, you have 5 minutes. You'll see a green light illuminated. Red means your time has expired.
Thank you for your time. My name is Bruce. I have a degree in cybersecurity. I've been working in the IT field for over 6 years now, and I have come here to speak about the use of the surveillance ALPR cameras. There's a lot of ground to cover, so I provided packets that are referencing the resources that I'm going to be talking about. I'll call out each page directly. So I would like to start that I and many U.S. citizens have issues with the use of these cameras in the country. Now, I hope you noticed that I called them surveillance cameras because that's what they are. These are not just ALPR cameras, right? They take video. They don't just take pictures. As you can see in the very first page, that's a screenshot of the patent that Flock Safety has. You notice the highlighted area says Dynamic Safety Network. The not license plate reader. Now, with it being apparent that Flock Surveillance hides what their product really is, like many corporations do, it should be easy for us to expect them to have like shady business practices. If you look at the second page, that is a screenshot of a news article where a Denver, Colorado mayor worked with Flock Safety CEO to get a signature approval for an extension contract, even though the city voted it down. Then there's also the fourth page is a screenshot of the email that the CEO of Flock sent a chief of police in Stoughton, Virginia. I want you to take note of what he says there because he tries to manipulate what the chief says. He tries to manipulate what the chief into siding with Flock over his citizens. Also, take a note what he says. Flock Safety has never been hacked, ever. So furthermore, Flagstaff and Sedona, Arizona have already canceled Flock, and they've gotten the cameras removed. There's 18 other cities across the country that have already started, including like Austin, Texas, Evanston, Illinois, and Cambridge, Massachusetts. Evanston has a particularly interesting one where they actually admitted that Flock admitted to security issues with the cameras that they installed in their city. Now onto the misuse. The page 4 is the screenshot shows an article of Sedgwick police chief that misused Flock Safety to track his ex-girlfriend 164 times and her new hookup. Page 5 is the Ketchy police lieutenant that also misused it to track his estranged wife. Now you might be like, well, a few bad apples shouldn't ruin the bunch. But on page 6, that's a letter submitted from to the Federal Trade Commission signed by Senator Ron Wyden and Congress member Raja, requesting the FTC to open an investigation into Flock. The highlighted section, I forgot to highlight it, my apologies. It talks about the misuse that he used it as an example, but it's an Unraveled Press revealed that DEA officers used the Flock account of local police detectives in Palos Heights, Illinois to conduct several searches, and that's the end of the quote. The entire police force was in on it, and they weren't going to say anything until they got caught, and I'll say why, and this is also quoted in there. Detectives confirmed that it was a common practice. Now to the security issues I have with Flock. Page 7 is a screenshot of the back-end code that I was able to obtain from the open internet. That you can see a few red circles in there. One of them is vehicle searches. That's an API call for when they put in like a license plate. That would be the code that gets called. The page 8 is a screenshot from a Flock demo that, as you can see, was accessed with no credentials. And you might think like, oh, it's just a demo, who cares? But the screenshot is of Aurora, Colorado's Flock system. It has officer names, which are blurred out, emails, phone numbers, and their areas of suspected patrols. Page 9 is Dallas, Texas. You can see a list of license plates, again, blurred out, and a list of camera names. In the camera names, there is a Spyglass Drive at Taco Bell. And on page 10, that is a Google Street View that I took, proving that the camera exists, just in case you have thoughts that it's not real data. Now, if you want to look back at that Langley's email, his quote, "Flock safety has never been hacked, ever." If all of this stuff I provided doesn't refute that claim, then I don't know what will. The most important topic that I'm going to address is our privacy. I'll keep this short, as these surveillance cameras are a grief violation of the Fourth Amendment right. Now, all of the police officers I have spoke to, and potentially yourselves, also think that you do not have a reasonable expectation of privacy in public. However, page 11 of the packet is the 12th page of Carpenter v. United States that says a majority of this court has already recognized that individuals have a reasonable expectation of privacy in the whole of their physical movements. These cameras track your physical movements. My speech is at the back of the very far back of the packet, and thank you all for your time. And remember, if they say it's for your safety, it's actually for your control.
Thank you, sir. Next call to the public is Mr. Patrick Mentraga. Afternoon, sir. You have 5 minutes. You see the green light illuminated. Red means your time is expired.
I have some prepared remarks, but I think I'm going to go extemporaneously instead. I would like to speak about Flock cameras as well. I am a 17-year signals intelligence professional with the United States Army, and I currently do extended reality training, development, and modernization, heavily using AI for soldiers. Flock cameras are a problem, plain and simple. And it's not even necessarily the cameras, although that's a separate problem, it's the company itself. You can see their public statements. You can listen to things like the meeting that's going to happen here February 24th. Those types of meetings are available online, and they're directly contradicted by their own website statements. To see the reality of what Flock is, it's just a license plate reader, except on their website, they brag about being able to track vehicles based on selectors such as body shape, color, the type of tire. That's not just a license plate reader. License plate readers are when you go park in a garage and it reads your license plate and then it knows how much time you've been in there. That's not something that reads the make and model of your car, okay? They're pervasive, and they are sharing data across the nation. It's a subscription service. If you subscribe, you have access to the data. There's a case in Denver where an officer went to a woman's house to confront her about package theft. And she said, I wasn't even there. I wasn't in that town. And he said, no, we've got video on you. This town was however many miles away from her house. We have video. And the quote was, you can't get a breath of fresh air in or out of that place without us knowing. And it was a brag. This is false identification of her face. But again, this is a license plate reader, supposedly, that did facial recognition. It's the company. If we need license plate readers to be safe, which again is questionable, get license plate readers, not surveillance cameras that track us 24/7. Contracts don't matter. Put what you want in there. These government contractors, they find ways to wiggle out of it. They're good at it. It's what they do. they'll get the loopholes. It's not even a loophole. It's following the rules that you wrote, but you don't know how to write them because that's not what you do constantly. You'll be the 1801st city that they contract with. They have more experience than you. They're going to get around it. As was previously said, federal agents will just borrow accounts. They'll do whatever forms they need to get an account with you. They'll have access with everything. Federal agents have basically de facto absolute immunity for any wrongs that they do. So if a federal agent tracked his girlfriend 164 times, our citizens have no recourse. They barely have recourse against a local cop that does something like that with qualified immunity, but with federal, it's absolute immunity. There's just no way to sue them for redress of a violation of your civil rights. Jones versus United States is another case. It is on point that we have privacy rights in public. Justice Scalia, I believe, wrote the majority opinion on it. It was about GPS trackers being placed on your car so that police can see where you are whenever you go. That sounds like a surveillance state with cameras all over town to me. And the ruling was it doesn't matter. They have to get a warrant. It has to be particularized. You can't do a general warrant on people. Flock cameras are a general warrant. One of the values of our nation is that we would rather let 5 guilty people go free than to accidentally incarcerate or bother or have an innocent person pay the price of our civil liberties and our feeling of safety. Flock cameras throw that on their head. They make it so that we all pay the price so that we can feel a little bit safer. And they fail greatly at that anyway. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Our last call to the public is Miss Acacia Barnett.
Good evening, everyone. I'm hoping to lighten the mood. And thank you so much for this opportunity. Tonight, I want to bring a focus back to what truly matters, which is the youth of Cochise County. The future of our cities depend on how we invest in them today. I've had the honor of being the steward of Hattie B. Black Women in Progress, a nonprofit many of you already know that began right here in Sierra Vista. What started as a small grassroots nonprofit summer camp for girls has grown into a nationally recognized youth development organization that has served thousands of girls over the past decade. Our mission is to serve, inspire, and teach unity within underrepresented groups that encourages empowerment, growth, and confidence with all young women. Many have mentored some of the girls in our program for years, guiding them from not only elementary, middle, high school, and through college and into their workforce. Our reach expands well beyond Cochise County to Tucson and Phoenix and even beyond Arizona. Families travel out of state for our program because what we offer is rare. It's deep mentorship rooted in community and powered by purpose. While that speaks to the quality of our work, it has also exposed a serious challenge. Every summer, we are forced to rent camps in northern Arizona because we do not have adequate facilities available locally. Each year, it becomes harder and more expensive and less reliable. We have reached a point where our growth and our impact is limited not by demand, but by our infrastructure. At the same time, we see the financial reality facing families in our county. Last year, we gave 57% of scholarships, which was required from 35% the year before. We refuse to turn children away due to the cost, but the truth is that we are currently 80% grant funded, and that is not sustainable long term. That is why we are building a solution that serves both youth and the broader community. Seville Louisa Ranch is a public boutique hotel wellness ranch that is a new addition under the umbrella of Hattie B. Black Women in Progress. Seville Louisa Ranch by Hattie B. will not only be a nonprofit retreat center, and it is not just limited to just organizations. It will be a destination designed for individuals looking for retreat space and a relaxing experience and environment. The difference is this: every stay at Seville Louisa Ranch directly funds youth development programs here in Cochise County, giving back to the community and providing a retreat. The model of giving back to communities allows us to create a sustainable funding stream while also bringing economic development to the region, including new jobs, internships, and workforce training opportunities and year-round employment pathways for young people. Seville Luisa Ranch gives us something we've never had before, a permanent home. It allows us to reduce reliance on outside funding, lower the cost of our program for local families, and to expand services to reach more youth across Cochise County, and also not just girls. So tonight I ask all of us, the city leaders, educators, parents, and my neighbors, to think ahead and don't get lost in the headlines that you see from the SSVEC Currents or Cool FM. This is not just a hotel project and not just a nonprofit, but a long-term investment in youth, workforce development, and sustainable economic growth. We will be the stewards of the next generation to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Acacia. So we'll close our call to the public, and now we'll have comments from the council. Start with Councilwoman Landry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So our work session on Tuesday was a little bit long, and so usually when we go over our council executive report, a lot of we'll talk about that, and our comments will happen then. And so I decided to go ahead and, for the sake of time, make my comments tonight. So the council executive report, it comes out, and you can find it on the website under the city managers area, and it has a lot of great information about the whole city. All the different departments provide information, and it's a great way to kind of track things over time as well. If you go back and look at some of the older editions, you can kind of see how things have changed over time, and that's really nice to have that there. So there's just a few things that I wanted to kind of bring attention to that's going on in the city. I definitely recommend that you go there and check it out and read it and share with others, just because it gives you a lot of good information. One of the things that that the communications department is doing, they put together something with the Sierra Vista Police Department with Officer Bowser. To create a video regarding DUI safety, and that was a really cool video that they did. I think it got a lot of hits on Facebook and everything. So that was kind of a fun way for Officer Bowser to kind of showcase his many talents, but at the same time kind of bring attention to something that's really important to bring attention to. So I thought that was really, really well done. So I just wanted to bring attention to that. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. It's always really cool to see the videos that they put together. And then in the Parks Department, I really love how there's different employee shout outs that happen in the different departments. And so I always like to highlight that, because I think it's very important to kind of get to know the people in the city that do the things that make our city run, how it's running. So Cale Erlmeyer is in the sports division, and he's been there since October 2020. And he first started as part-time recreation aide. And his skills and his enthusiasm, it led him to a promotion to a part-time recreation leader role, and then he's transitioned into the full-time recreation leader position. And so one of the cool things about him is he's recently earned an associate's degree in computer programming, and he was wanting to maybe advance into an IT role within the city. So I think that's really kind of showcases how the culture of the city and how people, even though they maybe move around, they still want to stay within the group. So just wanted to thank the Parks and Rec Department for putting the spotlights out there. Another spotlight is for Brianna Kelly and Jacqueline Lindahan, who work in the Cove facility. And so one of the things that was pointed out was there is a 95-year-old Miss Elizabeth who likes to go to the Cove and get her swim on and stuff. And so she makes a point to call ahead of time to make sure that they're there, because she feels such a connection with them that she makes an effort to do that. So I think that's a really it showcases the customer service that's going on there, and how people, they go the extra mile to make sure that people in our community feel safe and welcome. And some of the things that they've done was to take a proactive approach in repairing the water wheelchairs to enhance accessibility for anybody that maybe will need those. So I think that's a really great thing that they're doing to make sure that anybody who wants to go to the Cove and enjoy themselves is able to do that. I wanted to move on. The next one is in the code enforcement. This time around, I really appreciated the breakdown. There is a description of each of the different code references. There's a list of various kind of things that they go and they take care of. But in this issue, it has a description of what the code references are. So if you kind of go in there and you're like, maybe does this apply to me, or is this something I should be concerned about? Is this something that I didn't really know about before? I think this is a really great way to kind of go in there and learn what these are and the definitions and what they kind of entail. So that way you won't be visited by your code enforcement officers if you're informed about that. The last employee spotlight in the Sierra Vista Police Department is for Detective Nathan Drake, and he started in 2011. He's earned recognition for the Client Service Award on multiple occasions. I think that's really great, multiple occasions. He investigates financial crimes, fraud, identity theft, and burglaries. So he's doing his job to keep everybody safe. And he's also a defense tactics instructor and driving instructor. And a really cool thing is that, I don't know if you were aware that we have we recently named the evidence room the Greg Johnson Evidence Room, and there's a really cool sign there, and he's the one that volunteered to make that sign. So I think that's really cool to know that he's out there doing that, and then also bringing his talents to do something like that. Moving on from that, next month is February, and a couple of things that happen in February is Galentine's Day on the 13th and Valentine's Day on the 14th. So I don't know if you would guess what makes the best Valentine or Galentine. It's a dog. So if you don't have one, or if you maybe want one, or if you like dogs, definitely go to the shelter. There's lots of them there. You can take one on a walk. You can take one on an adventure. They have a special program where you can take a dog out for a little bit during the daytime, get to know them. You can take them overnight. So I think that's a really great way to kind of get to know a dog and see if maybe that's the right one for you. So you have a little bit of time to go out there and find your new best friend, your galentine, your valentine. There's lots of them out there that would really, really love to have a home. And dogs love you more than they love themselves. So definitely, if you don't want to do that, let anybody who might go out there, and everybody wins in that instance. One more thing I wanted to mention is that recently there's been some local businesses that have been closing, which is always really sad to see. I know that's always exciting when a new business opens up. People are always really enthusiastic and they want to, support their community and things like that. But when a business closes, it's a really sad thing. So I just wanted to encourage you to go out there and visit your favorite local business, or bonus points if you find a new favorite to visit. I think that our city definitely needs the support and the love. It's always a great time to do that. So please, if you haven't recently, find a new favorite, and everybody wins in that instance. And with that, be blessed and blessed be.
Thank you, ma'am. Councilman Kilmurray.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the executive report, always an excellent document, and it shows user rates in particular on the buses, the Cove, et cetera, but it doesn't bounce costs against the user rates. In subsequent editions, can we have the user cost, per rider cost, per swimmer cost, based on not necessarily the capital investments, but the monthly and annual O&M costs? And if we need clarification, we can talk about it later, talk specifically what I'd like to see there. And then on top of that, I've been a little bit wishy-washy with a lot of people, including the Herald, about whether I'm going to be running for this seat or not. I can tell you I'm not. I made that decision a while back, but it keeps floating around in my mind whether I want to actually do it or not. But in the meantime, from my remaining time on council, I hope to do my very best to advocate in the best interests of the city and all of our constituents. And I appreciate to the current council the opportunity to serve for a year and a half. Thanks.
Appreciate it, sir. Thank you, sir. Councilman Jackson.
Just a question for Councilman Kilman. You wanted that to be added to the executive report? Is that's what you're
That's
asking?
for the executive report, yes.
Okay, so additional information?
Yes.
Okay, I want to make sure I understood that quick. I have nothing, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Councilman Myers.
Yes, so we were talking about how it's always sad to see businesses closed. I know that we've just had 2 restaurants open, The Bit and I think Guadalajara just opened today. They were serving breakfast this morning, 9 to 9, 7 days a week. So that's encouraging to see some restaurants opening up. And also, I wish I could remember the name of this bookstore, but I just happened to. I'm a big time bookie. I love to read books, and we have a new bookstore in town, but I cannot remember the name of it. But I believe it's off of Tacoma and Fry Boulevard, right there where Dr. Michael's used to be. Yeah, there's a little toy store in there, and on the corner is a new bookstore, and they cater to history buffs. There's a lot of Civil War and.
It used to be chapter 2.
What is it?
It used to be chapter 2.
Yeah, now it's a new bookstore,
Right.
and it's got a
Clutter
lot of
is
Civil
something,
War books in there. Yes, go ahead. Is it? That sounds right.
That does
sounds
sound
right.
right.
I've already gone in there and dropped some serious money, so I just wanted to give them a shout out, but I cannot remember the name of it. But I think you're right. It's Cactus Books, is that right? Yeah. Yeah. So go give them a. They're really good people in there. And they're history buffs, and they've got a very impressive collection of books. That's all I've got.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Rodriguez.
Thank you, sir. Starting off with the executive summary from the city manager, I'd like to just want to highlight a few things. The spaceport license update is in there. It's something we should all keep a pulse on, just see where that's at. We get asked a lot. And just so you know, there's a difference between a spaceport license, between what Black Star is doing and what the Space Force is doing. It's not all the same thing. So I recommend everybody got to do the research and read into that and see what's really going on at our airport, because a lot of possibilities there, but this specifically talks about getting the FAA license for our to be a spaceport. Page 32 is pretty important. It talks about all the plans and projects. So you're driving around town and wondering, like, what's going on, what's being built there. I recommend you go to this document, look at page 32. It'll probably answer a lot of your questions about what's being built, what's being submitted for the future, things like that. What's been approved, what's already been built already. I always appreciate the fire data, a lot of good stuff. Top 10 calls are in there. As expected, it's still fall injuries are the number one thing. So, our senior population is having a lot of falls. A lot of those calls that go out are for that, to lift assist and things like that. And there's one part in there that mentions, it's 109 fire calls are not in our primary residence area. So, but do we have the data that also shows, like, we went into someone else's area, but how often do they come into our area to see where, like, if it balances out? Can we get that number? Is that possible?
Councilman Rodriguez, yes, we can. We have a new platform that is called Continuum. We were able to acquire through our Image Trend reporting system. And basically, we can create any report that we want. And it's a very, very good data collection platform for us. And so if you could specifically request what you're looking for, we could provide that.
Cool.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it. Yeah, because I like how it says we go into other people's area, but it's also important to know when people come into our area to help us out and run calls or whatever. Thank you. Also, the regional SWAT, 2 years now. They've been working on trying to get this done. So hopefully it sounds like there's some traction there to get this all together. So I'm looking forward to that progress. I'm glad you guys put it in there. And then Sentinel, again, that publication you put out, obviously got a lot of traction with the flock camera flock camera installations being in there. So I just want to thank you for that transparency that you've been sticking to since you took over as chief. That's part of it. I appreciate you putting in there, letting everybody know here's where we're at, setting up. I'm speaking of flock, having somebody come out on February 24th to speak about that in person from that company that can actually ask some questions. I really appreciate that because, again, that's, I think, as the city trying to be as transparent as possible when it comes to that. It's very important. Appreciate all the calls of the public. It's very important to hear what our public wants to talk about. I was fortunate, as you know, call the public, we can't discuss stuff back and forth, but we hear you and we understand and we appreciate that very much. All this perspective out there. Anything to talk about the flock cameras to the youth of our county, which is very important. My daughter attended that retreat back when it was at the United Methodist Church on St. Andrews back in the day, so I'm glad to see that what it's grown to what it is now. If you didn't catch this, Sierra Vista is number 6, top 10 cities to live in, according to the January 2026 Travel and Leisure magazine. So we're making the magazines again. You know, the people know that we're hitting gem now. We're going to be the influx, so we got to be careful because we're going to have nowhere to live. No, just kidding. But it's good to be recognized. I hate the pictures that they use because I always look to see what pictures they use when they talk about our city, and it's like one over the world. It's zoomed out. It's like, yeah, Sierra Vista is in there somewhere in this desert picture that they have. So I don't appreciate the picture they use. I wish they would have gave us a call and said, hey, do you have a good picture we could use for our magazine? I wish they would have done that because that really doesn't do us justice. Anyway,
Like at the League.
like at the League of Cities when they use an airport that's not our airport.
Yeah, it's not even our plane.
I don't appreciate that either. Anyway, give a shout out to Officer William Partridge, who I mentioned before. He was the one that caught the La Casita fire first, was out on patrol, probably 3 in the morning, I think, doing what he should be doing out there, just keeping his eyeballs open. And I'm glad he caught that because if not, La Casita would have had we may not be here today. So thankful that they caught it early. The firefighters responded quickly, got it knocked down, got it contained, and they're still open. Their banquet room, unfortunately, is not open because that's what sustained most of the fire. So they had some things lined up for the rest of the year in there. So they've had to move those somewhere else. But I'm glad that our inspectors were able to get in there and say, hey, you're able to open. That way, those employees can still get money and to feed their families and move forward as business as much as possible until insurance kicks in. So I appreciate everybody involved in that situation. The Avengers softball kickoff registration is this Saturday at 10 a.m. at the Sports Division building right here on 3401 East Fry Boulevard. So anybody that wants to play softball with the Avengers, that's where you go sign up. And then the last thing I want to talk about is we had a great MLK ceremony this past Monday. But before that, it started off with 10 days of service that I'm really thankful that the NAAC put that together this year. There was a lot of options to get out there and get involved in the community, whether you did it through the NAACP or some of them was like, hey, choose your own adventure. This is your own way of giving service back to the community. So I really appreciate that they set it up that way this year. So thank you to everybody involved. The culminating ceremony at the park was great. It was a good march. The chief was there. Thank you, chief, for being there. Again, we have a lot of communities out in the U.S. that won't happen ever. You'll never see. They just don't have that dynamic, that relationship that we have with our PD and our first responders. So I thank you for being out there and walking with everybody. And it was good to hear the guest speakers of note. J.D. Mack, who played the part of MLK, dressed the part of MLK, kind of set the tone, got in character. He's a veteran. He owns the Chill Factor Hookah Lounge down here. So shout out to him for doing that and getting up there in front of everybody. And the city staff that made it all happen. Thank you.
Yeah, Ishmael.
Ish is everywhere. I don't think that guy ever sleeps. He's not like John Healy, where if there's something at the park, I can see John Healy, I see Ish, and I think they live there.
Yeah.
I think they have a little cabin back there somewhere they live in. So,
thanks, John.
Thanks for always being involved.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We got the name of the bookstore. It's James Becker's Boot Hill Books. So
It is
came
Boot
from
Hill
us.
Books. Somebody looked it up and I was wrong. It's not Cactus. It's Boot Hill. Yeah.
There's cactus on Boot
The
Hill.
owner actually messaged the mayor
Yeah,
just now.
he just messaged.
He was like, hey.
Was he
you
watching?
heard?"
He must have
Yeah,
been
I think he's
watching.
watching.
Yeah.
You meant there's cactus on Boot Hill. That's why.
Yeah.
And then one other thing, the bit was mentioned. Mark and I had
Really
brunch,
good food. Yeah.
lunch. I don't know. That food is amazing. We had a little bit of everything, and it was all good. So I'm gonna go back there this weekend for breakfast. Yeah, and that's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Alibis. Okay.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry. Speaking of La Casitas, 143 Tacos will be doing a fundraiser for them. So if anyone is interested, please reach out to 143 Tacos. Okay.
For the employees.
For La Casitas restaurant. Yep. Rebuild it.
So I want to give a good shout out to the Buena girls soccer team playing Cienega tonight. Buena is number 2 in the state. Cienega's number 6, so it should be a great game. Chief Armin's daughter, I hope, is playing. She has a sprain
Playing
ankle.
tonight. Heard she might play tonight. So.
You might play tonight?
Hopefully.
Oh. So it's good. It's not cold outside, just a little windy. Also, Buena's basketball team is playing tonight against Nogales. Buena's 12-3. They lost their game against Cienega on Saturday, but everybody went home without any incidents.
Which is always good.
Which is always good.
No police
Always
helicopters
good.
were needed this time.
Also, thank Chief. We had our walking on Wednesday last week with members of the NAACP. Outstanding walk. Chief always, we don't run, we just walk. Chief likes to get out fast, but try to slow him down. But thank you, Chief, for all that you do. Saturday, we have Yavapai College is coming down to Douglas campus for another basketball game, 2 o'clock. If you don't have anything to do, college students are always hyped down there. So they have some good games down there. And I think that is it. With that, you have a great week. We are dismissed.